Another in the group asked, if I intended to deceive the enemy with some stratagem, the enemy likely intends to deceive me with some stratagem as well. How could it be that I'm the only man who knows something while everyone else under heaven is ignorant? You understand it now? The demon replied, that's exactly it. What you are saying is that people copy set forms. This is like the Go and Shogi players who emulated what had come before them, leaving no stone unturned in the principles they had learned. There were no other techniques beyond these. Nevertheless, they were able to become even more skillful than that. To emulate the rules of Go or to learn the complex movements of the chessmen in Shogi is to study set forms. But once you can freely use these forms, a new and different trick may come out of them that would settle the match. Generally speaking, all things in this world appear to be completely like set forms, but this is not so. And strategy is also like this. According to their capacities, generals takes form. According to their capacities, it's because I'm not sitting up. Generals take from the set forms of the ancients. Then their actions are adapted to the circumstances and strategies for their troops to spring forth at just the right time. The great generals of the past would observe the skills of fishermen, woodcutters, the men of humble birth, take these directly and create new techniques, many of which were used during campaigns. When you constantly keep your mind alert, everything you see and hear becomes an aid to strategies and techniques. Nevertheless, if you do not first know the set forms of the ancients, you will have nothing on which to base your later studies. The techniques of learning are also just like this. If you do not rely on the examples of the ancients, you will be unable to become enlightened in a way without their examples. You must always use the mind in all things and consider what your ears hear and your eyes see to be the seeds of discipline. Then, when something happens, you should entrust yourself to the change of that moment. Again, during a military campaign, if both your enemies and your allies are made up of large forces, it will be difficult to see things with a freedom as you would in an individual action. Always come up with methods by thinking about the examples of the ancients. It is considered essential to prepare in a way that you will have freedom in moving your troops and leading a cavalry charge. Though you have your own good fortune because of the secret acts of charity of your ancestors, when a single thought deviates in the slightest, countless confused minds are generated. In the end, you enter the world of demons. The secret acts of charity of your ancestors are cut off, and disaster comes for you more swiftly than an arrow. All of you should be greatly concerned about this and be very careful about yourselves. The world of demons is one where you take pride in your own superficial knowledge and despise others. You rejoice in the confused action of others, and by this create the border between good and evil, and gain and loss. You do not know how to enjoy things tranquilly, but, making your own desires absolute, do not reflect on yourself in the least. Let me read that again. You do not know how to enjoy things tranquilly, but, making your own desires absolute, do not reflect on yourself in the least. You consider the person who follows only himself to be good, while you consider it evil to do otherwise. Fastening the world's right and wrong in the fetters of your own egotism, you hate one thing and love the other, at times angry and at times distressed. Your mind never enjoys peace and quiet. Buddhists call this drinking boiling water 3 times a day and giving birth to flames. Tell me about it. From the suffering of this heat come numerous vicissitudes, perversions, and harm to others. You should all discipline your minds well, control your chi, and flee this world of evil spirits. You should enter the world of human beings and search for the way. You all think that because you have long noses, beaks, and wings, that you can defeat men and deceive the foolish. Your long noses, sharp beaks, and light wings are instead instruments causing the mind to suffer and men to be injured. In both learning and swordsmanship, just consider it to be your main business to know yourselves. When you know yourself, you will be clear within and keep yourself well in check. Thus, there will be no reason for anyone to come and be your opponent. Even if your knowledge is insufficient and you make mistakes, it will not be your fault. Just entrust things to heaven. The person who does not know himself does not know others. Those who would deceive and defeat others by means of their own selfish minds will have the vacuity of their minds struck by others. Those who would attack others by means of their own desire will have that desire agitated and its vacuity struck as well. Those who would overwhelm others by means of force will have the weak point of that force struck too. Learning and swordsmanship are the same. The person without desire, who simply exerts everything he has, will have no empty space to be struck. Yeah? Learning and swordsmanship are the same. The person without desire, who simply exerts everything he has, will have no empty space to be struck. Neither can you break him by force. You cannot move him by desire or deceive him with cunning. Thinking of this, I constantly keep myself in check, but still have been unable to cut off my usual common passions. I have simply been able to avoid drinking that boiling water a little. I am still among the rank of demons. Tell me about it, but will perhaps someday enter the world of men and become enlightened in the way. I have only briefly explained to you those things I have heard. The grass and trees swayed, the mountains rumbled, and this reverberated in the valleys. The swordsman was aware that the wind had picked up. It struck his face, and he awoke from a dream. What had appeared to be a mountain was only a folding screen. In agitation, he fell face down on his bed. The Demon Sermon on the Martial Arts.